Affinity Photo has functionality to tackle chromatic aberration and fringing issues, both when developing RAW files and when editing in its main photo persona. First of all, with automatic lens corrections, you may not need to actually do anything. If we zoom right into the castle turret in this image, you will see there is some very faint false color artifacting, but it won't really be visible at 100% zoom. Across on the lens panel, we can see that chromatic aberration reduction is being applied by default using the current lens profile. If we disable this option, we can see what the initial result would be like if the correction was not being applied. In most circumstances, these automatic corrections will mean that we don't have to do any further work here. However, automatic lens corrections may not be available for all lens models or body and lens combinations. Like here, for example. So in this scenario, we can let Affinity Photo analyze the image and apply some inferred corrections. So across on the lens panel, you'll see that we have no lens correction data for this particular lens model. So we can just go down to Chromatic Aberration Reduction, enable it, and it will estimate the required correction from the image. Now, although we are unlikely to see the remaining color fringing at a reasonable zoom level, we can still tidy up by using the defringe functionality here. So we can enable defringe, move the hue slider to 0 degrees to match the red color fringing here. Then we'll start by reducing threshold and increasing tolerance until that red fringing disappears. So here, as I reduce tolerance, you can see it starts to come back, and then gradually as I increase it, the fringing disappears. We can also scrub through the hue slider to fine-tune our result, but remaining with 0 degrees or red is the best option for us here. We can now develop the raw image and take it into the main photo persona for further editing. Now, for non-raw bitmap formats like JPEG or TIFF, where an image may have already been developed from RAW or is an out-of-camera JPEG, we can also apply these two options as filters. So within filters and colors, we have chromatic aberration and defringe, but we can actually apply defringe non-destructively as a live filter layer. So I'll just add this filter, and across on the layers panel, you can see it's being child layered into my background pixel layer, which is the image. The dialog is very similar to the controls in the develop persona. We can change the fringe color to red, reduce edge brightness threshold, and increase the tolerance. Then additionally, we can enable also remove complementary hue, which will tackle the blue fringing as well. With our settings chosen, we can close the dialog. However, in the future, we now have the flexibility of being able to double-click this filter and change the settings again, if we need to. This filter layer also has its own mask. So, for example, if we wanted to exclude the defringe effect from any particular area, we could first make sure we have the defringe filter selected, then choose the paintbrush tool from the tools panel here, take the hardness down to 0 for a nice soft edge brush, make sure we are set to black so we are subtracting from the mask, then just brush into the area where we want to stop the defringe filter from applying. So it's very subtle, but here, for example, we might want to avoid the desaturation of the edge detail that the defringe filter may cause. So that was a quick look at applying chromatic aberration reduction and defringing in Affinity Photo. Thank you very much for watching.